Hey guys, I'm Steve.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is
Morning Beers.
This episode of Morning Beers. So I believe it's still morning, right?
It is, technically right now. It's 11:11.
11:11. Cheers again.
Yeah.
So the topic of this show is pretty much fucking nothing, right?
We didn't come in with any kind of plan. Just kind of, maybe we'll talk about stuff.
Maybe. I think we were saying that the idea behind the whole concept was basically a bass player's look at music, gear,
Basically, just
life.
Yeah, I would say lifestyle and just like work in general.
Hops enhanced, though.
Oh yes, the hops and the barley do make things flow a little bit easier.
That is correct. Yes. So, for us though, I think that the biggest thing is like we're kind of in the Lehigh Valley. So if any of you guys don't know where the Lehigh Valley is, Shawn, please give us a description.
Somewhere in between, if you took New York and Philadelphia, the spot where everything kind of goes and dies for music.
So it's kind of like the taint of America.
If you want to call it the taint, yeah, the taint of the northeast of America. It's right there in the middle.
However, we do have a pretty incredible music scene of people who live here that you wouldn't know live here.
Yeah, that's a really good point right there.
It's funny because we have there's very limited gigs, let's be honest. And the places that are out there don't really pay much. So you're doing a lot of work basically to support a habit. So it's like, for me it was either, do I shoot heroin or do I pick up the bass? And, luckily, I figured, which one was more expensive? Obviously the bass. So.
Bass is way more expensive. It's an endless rabbit hole of gear, pedals, cables, amps, and everything just constantly, that one's better. They put out something new. I gotta get it.
Something shiny.
Something shiny and new. It's gonna make me play better.
It's almost like, it's a compulsive upgrader. We always see those people with iPhones and other things out there. Imagine that you have to have another job to be a musician. Shh, that's like one of the best kept secrets too, right? Like all these guys, like I won't say, Mervyn Irian, like guys like that who play in who have wedding bands and other things that they make a living but kind of pretend that they don't. Or work at airports, like some guys that I know who, I won't name any names, but work as baggage handlers.
But like, the one thing that it's most entertaining is if you don't know the artist and you don't know where they're from or anything like that, you see on like their profiles or their like Instagrams or anything, it's New York.
Yeah.
They all live in New York.
New York.
Yeah,
yes.
New York. They all live in New York.
Which is amazing to us. Who the hell can survive to live in New York? Like we live honestly about an hour and 20 minutes out of the city. And, and about an hour and 10 minutes from Philadelphia.
Yep.
So we've worked, I don't know about you, but I've worked those cities many times. And it's almost nonsense, like to go up to New York to play a show for 30 people who don't care. But to go to Philly and play a show for 30 people who don't care.
If you go and you play in New York or you play in Philadelphia anymore, you're playing for free.
Yes.
You're doing a showcase or you're doing something that's just like, it's like, well, you should be grateful we're letting you play in a city.
And technically it's not really for free though. Like when you really think about the cost of going into the city from anywhere, it's
free for the venue.
Yeah, free for the
venue.
Yeah, so I mean, you're basically giving away your time and your money to say, hey, I played in New York. Now, I know a few professional sons out there who who have been able to ride their way through and be able to live in the city, which, again, surprises the hell out of me, because a lot of the guys I know out there who have lived in the city have had hidden jobs, or they're walking dogs, or they're working at Apple, or they're working somewhere else to fund their habit, right?
Right.
Because that's what a lot of us do. We have to work something else.
But, I mean, there's no shame. There shouldn't be any shame in that.
I agree with you. I think the shame comes with not being able to support yourself and trying to survive off other people's incomes.
Well, yes, that is kind of shameful. But like, if you're working multiple jobs and you're doing what you love, there's not really a problem with that. I mean, like, like you work for Apple.
Yeah, I do.
You work for Apple. I work for a church, and I work for like the School of Rock and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, we all kind of belong to some higher form of employment.
Well, and that's changed a lot. I mean, even from the days like when I graduated college in 2001, I was able, the first thing you did was you got out with a music degree from a college that really didn't put you anywhere. They didn't really support you. They didn't really figure out a way to like get your stuff together to help you get out there and network. So you're lucky if you did. But once you're out there, the first thing you think is, I got 6 months to pay back my student loan. So most people I knew ended up either working in human services or somewhere else just so they could figure out what the hell they were going to do. You know, whether it was working for, Kids Peace or something like that, where they would actually get their foot in the door and figure out a way to survive and start paying these loans back and try to play gigs at the same time. Eventually, for myself, I don't know about you, but I know you worked a regular day gig. You were doing 40 hours. I've been one of the lucky guys. I've never worked a straight 40 hours. I've always worked part-time, so I've been able to focus on my art, but using those part-time gigs to kind of keep afloat. So I'd work like 3 part-time gigs, which probably equaled more than 40 hours, but I was still playing gigs and teaching, and for most of us, I think teaching kind of started for us with that, right? It's like, I know I would gig, and then I would teach to support my gigging, right?
Basically, I remember I was teaching guitar and stuff. I was a guitarist before I really switched over to being a bass player and stuff like that.
I remember.
Yeah, and like when I did that, that's what kind of like fueled me to get out there and play more, I suppose. But it was teaching that got me more motivated to try and like carve a path.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about that too, Shawn, is that when we look at we keep changing our standards, right? So it was like, I know for myself and my my guitar player, I used to teach about 40, 50 students a week. You know how many students I teach a week now as just bass?
Can you count them on 2 hands?
No, I cannot. Now this is including the school I teach at.
Yeah.
This is, when I teach at the school, I have about 70 or 80 kids that I'm working through there. But I'm talking about private lessons, kids that actually want to play bass. Those are less and less, and they're less driven for, the old days. Kids came in, I'm gonna go to college, I want to study, I want to play. Now it's like, I want to play what the YouTube kids play, and it's wrong and poor, Don't
get me started with we'll have to save that one for the YouTube players and stuff like that. That's a whole different discussion.
That's a show.
That's a whole show.
Bitching about YouTube players.
Oh my god. I was driving over here thinking about those, and I was like, yeah.
Well, we could talk about YouTube players that have gear endorsements that don't play other than on YouTube.
The bedroom players.
Oh, well, the bedroom players don't hate the bedroom players. But you gotta get out of the bedroom, though, to play an actual gig with people and actually interact. I mean, it's like being a gamer, if you sit at home all day by yourself playing your games and masturbating.
Hey, you seem real satisfied then.
Cheese curls, masturbation, porn. That's another show.
That's a totally different one.
That's a different topic completely. But getting back on the subject of, when thinking about, it was being a teacher, having 40 or 50 students, you could survive, and it fit into your schedule because it was the same as your gigging schedule. Your teaching would end, you'd go out, you'd gig, you'd go home, sleep till whenever you got up, go back, teach again, go back out and gig again.
Sure.
So the cycle has changed to the point where it's really fucking with musicians' lives and their ability to put out quality material, because now they're being sucked into whatever hours that they can find from something else to be able to suffice to put out music that people don't want to pay for. And I think that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, that would be like a whole nother show on top of this, I feel like, but the whole no one really buying music anymore, that's just a sign of the times. Where right now everything's going towards streaming, and I think the only real way to kind of succeed in getting your music out to people anymore, I still feel that Bandcamp is a solid way to kind of build an audience through subscription where if you think about it, where if someone subscribes to your channel and you're getting an annual or a monthly fee from them and you're just making music, but now it can be much easier to get music out.
What's that begging platform? I mean, Patreon.
Oh, Patreon. Yeah, that is a begging platform. But Bandcamp isn't a begging platform.
Well, it's not. You're right, but I think with that too. I mean, when you think about those formats are now song based, right? So it's not album based anymore. There's no conceptual albums anymore.
People aren't putting out necessarily albums, but you can still make an album and put it out there.
But people aren't listening to it, and it's creating this. It's basically a buffet now, and people are picking and choosing without eating the full meal. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem because people will eat crap if you let them. That's our diets. We eat garbage.
Morning beers.
Morning beers.
I think even in the early 2000s, it kind of got started with that, with bands putting out 1 or 2 singles on an album and selling the album, where nobody really wanted to buy the albums anymore because they were shit.
'Cause singles?
Yeah. Because singles, there would be like 1 or 2 hits, which is what they made.
Let's bring that back for the kids that don't know what we're talking about. So in the late 80s, early 90s, actually even into the 90s, it's like mid-90s, before CDs really took over and disappeared again, there were these things called cassettes. And it was basically, this tape that ran across. So think of a reel. No, I was going to say reel to reel, but what the fuck would you do?
They don't really know reel to reel either.
Unless they've been in a studio somewhere. So it was a piece of tape that ran from one cog to another cog. And you could stick your pencil in and wind them up and they'd get pulled out from your Walkman.
And then your Walkman would eat the tape or it would break. And
you put a little tape on to fix it.
Yeah, and then if you really hated that tape, you could put tape over top of the edges of it and record over it.
So, where were we? Because, morning beers.
Morning beers.
Singles.
Yeah, singles.
So you'd go in and you'd buy this one single. It's like, say for instance, Color Me Bad. You just wanted that song so bad for some reason. Maybe because you're stupid.
You want to beat it on cassette in the worst way.
But you'd go out and you'd buy that cassette and it would have an A side and a B side. Well, which was like basically a 45, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, hold on.
No,
let me explain
that's
that one.
Coming back. That's coming back.
That's vinyl, yes.
Yeah, vinyl has a resurgence.
But 45s aren't coming back.
No,
I have not
33.
seen any 45s. Yeah, 33s. But 45s are even like these small little albums, tiny frisbees.
They made these little like adapters to where like if you could make it look like the size of a 33.
Yeah.
But, like that was about it.
Well, they had that little thing that you'd stick in the center.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so many little things you need to play a 45.
That's incredible. But the single was kind of like so A and B side. That's always been like that. There's always been bubblegum, right?
Yeah.
Or ear candy. There's always those things that came out that were to get you in. But we're seeing that without the ability to put out like a wall or Lateralis.
Oh, you mean concept albums? They're done. There's no more concept.
But there's still
albums.
people out there that want them, though. There's still an audience out there, but it's just going back to the streaming sources. You can't stream a concept album. You can, but people don't go to it because they don't have the attention span anymore. I think they said our attention span is 3 seconds, whereas a goldfish is 5. It's like if you can't get it in 3 seconds, it's done.
Wow. Yeah. No. It's. There's no patience for it anymore.
No. So I mean, even
this is really depressing.
It kind of is.
It's a depressing conversation.
It is. Well, it's morning beers.
Morning beers, yes.
Fueled by alcoholism, which little thing up front. Neither of us are alcoholics. We just thought it'd be really funny to do something like.
And all these opinions are our own.
Yeah, it just sounds funnier when we have a beer in hand.
Yeah, and then we can really speak our mind, and people won't judge us.
Maybe they will.
Let them. Give us a thumbs down. I dare you.
Well, I'm going to do that on purpose now.
Yeah, now they're going to.
So what we want is we want you to put thumbs down instead of thumbs up because we're going to use this reverse psychology here. So put thumbs down. That means you like it.
Yeah.
If you give us a thumbs up, we're going to be really upset about that.
Yeah. We might have to do this again if you do that.
So I guess with that, we're seeing the loss of concept albums, which is kind of disappointing. I mean, you're doing. Which is funny because you're playing in a band that's essentially a concept album.
every album they did was a concept album, yeah.
So you're playing in a Radiohead tribute band.
Yeah.
That's doing basically a concept album every time you play.
Yep.
Because you're running through it's like stream of consciousness thing.
Basically, and we try to do chunks from the albums too, like do 3 or 4 songs in a row from an album because be honest, when people listen to Radiohead, the true Radiohead fans, they don't listen to a song.
No.
They listen to an album.
That's true.
They listen to the whole thing because, if you said, oh, I love it in the middle of Mixomatosis, they'll be like, wait, which song's Mixomatosis? Oh, you mean Hail to the Thief? Yeah, that's a good album.
Yeah. But then you have the Radiohead, the person who they come and they go, well, I love Radiohead.
Oh, the elitist? The elitist?
No, I'm not talking about the elitist. I'm talking about the jock rocks.
Oh.
Well, Creep was really the best song they ever did.
Well, no, I feel like the jock rock theme was 2 + 2 = 5.
I think Brian Beller told me that was his favorite song. If you guys don't know who Brian Beller is, that's a good chance you don't.
Good bass player.
He is. I like Brian. Brian's great, but that was definitely one of. I remember him saying to me, I think it was at Bass Specialties when I used to teach there. He told me, he's like, we were talking about Radiohead, and he's like, yeah, 2 + 2 = 5. He's like, it's a great album, great song. It is a great song because do you know where the concept of that comes from?
No, I do not know.
It's from 1984. It was the whole. I believe it seems that way. It was set up from 1984. It was like, if I hold up, how many fingers am I holding up? If the party holds up 4, if they say it's 5, you say 5. How many fingers? It was. So it seems like it's that kind of 2 + 2 = 5.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of that concept. Or at least that's my takeaway on that one.
Opinions.
Opinions. Is there anything but opinions here?
No, just butt opinions.
Butt opinions, yes. B-U-T-T. Opinions.
Opinions on butts.
Let's have another beer.
Have another beer. I'm almost done with this one.
Yeah, I'm working. I believe we're still in the AM.
Yeah, it's still AM. We still have time.
This is almost brunch beers. If we only had food and lunch and breakfast.
Oh yeah.
But
did you have breakfast yet?
I did not. Did you?
No.
So
this is
breakfast.
Barley and hops.
It's kind of bread in a bottle.
Well, yeah, yeast. It's like watered down.
It's bread.
Instagram slap bass videos.
God, I hate slap bass. It's funny. I think we all started out liking it at one point.
Sure. Well, it's like little kids liking Santa Claus, and then you figure out.
Don't fuck up Santa Claus, dude. Come on. You're right. I think the turning point for me for slap bass was going into Gerald Veasley's bass boot camp the one morning when I was a camper. So this was like 2005, 2006. And you walk in and all you hear is get. I mean, it is literally.
Oh, the Harley convention, yeah.
It was literally. You walk in and all you hear is. And it's like, Jesus Christ. And nobody's in unison. Everybody's just fucking banging on shit. It's like the kid sitting at the desk, tapping. And then you have all these kids sitting at the desk tapping. It's like, dude, chill the fuck out. Seriously, learn a fucking melody.
If you want to be a slap bass player, go and play drums.
Now, hold on. So let's recap on that though.
Yeah, you have to fight against it.
Well, I have to throw in the devil's opinion. I have to throw in the other side. I have to be the devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, I know, beer. Devil's opinion.
The beers. Devil's opinions on advocates.
Yes. So let's look at this for a second. So we said, if you want to be a slap bass player, play drums. Now some guys do play in that aspect. Morning. There are moments where slap bass is right.
Sure.
There is that Steely Dan lick where Chuck Rainey just plays that little lick, or there's that little lick inside. Now I know it's funk fingers, it's not slap, but there's that lick in that Peter Gabriel tune where Tony Levin's using the funk fingers big time, and he's like he throws that in. And it's like for literally, I think it's like 8 bars. And it's brilliant for 8 fucking bars.
Well, can I? All right, let me rephrase this. The Instagram slap bass videos where it's like 10 seconds long of the same frickin' like thing over and over again, and it's just flashy. It's not actually content.
Yes.
But there is a time and a place. Like if you're doing a wedding band, you're going to play slap bass because you're going to do like disco songs. You're going to do things that just dance and people want to get up and move, and that has to have that pop and the slap.
Right. Well, I have a couple friends who do stuff like that. Now, I have a friend who puts up a lot of content. Like he throws up these videos that are like 30, 40 seconds of him tapping or slapping or something like that. And he's a great bass player. And I'm going to call you out, Killian.
Oh.
Killian Door, I'm going to call you out. Killian does that a lot. But I love Killian. Killian is a solid bass player, but he does those videos because he knows people will watch them. And that's true because they do. It's candy. But he's a solid bass player too. So, and I love that dude. So I have to call him out.
Nice.
Because he does that. But he's a good dude. And I know him, and I know his content, I know his background, I know that he can do way more than that. But you're right, there are some guys that you'll just get that and it's out of time, and it's just filler bullshit.
Oh yeah, when I'm talking about it, I'm going on Instagram, I'm flipping through like the little search thing, and like all these videos pop up. They must think that I enjoy it or something. Or
are you upset about my Coltrane changes slap bass thing?
Honestly, I didn't even see it. I would have thumbs down it. But like,
Actually, I didn't fucking do it.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. But no,
it's all lies.
Scrolling through this stuff, and it's just nothing but like what we were talking about. I think you coined the term a while back. It was called Nam Chops.
Oh, well, I didn't coin that.
Oh, you didn't coin that?
No.
I think I first heard it from you, though.
Yeah, so that's...
And just like that right there, it's just like so much of it, and just... I felt like there's nothing really like of content in there.
You're right. There isn't anything content, which is like the NAMM chops. It's like going to Guitar Center, and you just hear that guy playing that one lick that's out of time, out of tune, just all over the place. The guy who
Jerry
plays,
was a race car driver when he plays that one.
People don't even do that anymore. I mean, it's not even that, but
the older folks do. The dads.
Yeah, but it's the guy that you see that comes in with the thumb over the top like this, and is like doing this thing. It's like, I'm like, dude, are you jerking off or are you actually playing? You know, a lot of these guys that have their thumb up over the top like this, and they're you know, look how good I am. Look how good I am. And it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, learn some fucking technique, learn a melody. You know, learn a little bit more. I mean,
well, that's a good point because people don't really see the value in it anymore. They don't see the value in technique. I actually had a student before say like, "Oh, well, you know, I think I'm just gonna like learn some stuff off of YouTube and this and that." I was like, "Are you serious right now? Are you being serious? You're just going to like monkey see, monkey do on this type of stuff because like there's a lot of bad technique out there.
There sure is. There sure is a lot of bad technique out there.
Like way more than there's actually good technique. So you're gonna have to like sift through all the bullshit to find the good technique.
Well, they're not even. I think there's such a disconnect from like good musicianship. Like there's such a disconnect because now it's like when we were growing up, the guys that we looked up to were like, you know, Les Claypool, Geddy Lee. We looked up to Stanley Clarke. We looked up to Jocko. We looked up to all these players. Steve Swallow. Fucking love Steve Swallow.
Great.
We looked up to all these guys that were like these monster players on the electric bass. And then we got introduced to like Ray Brown, Paul Chambers, Jimmy Garrison. All these guys that then, you know, there's a craft. So we were more worried about learning the craft than we were learning about how to be flashy. And it's like, dude, if you're learning this shit to impress girls, dude, you're a bass player. Get over yourself. You're never gonna.
You're not gonna get the girls.
Yeah, you'll be lucky.
The crappiest guitarist will get the girls before you do.
You'll count yourself lucky if you get married.
Pray she stays with you for being a bassist.
Yeah, that can be an issue too. I mean, that's like, you know, seriously, like gigging with a wife and kid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's again, you know, it's heroin because, you know, you have to feed the monkey, so, you know, you have to gig because otherwise you start feeling shitty about yourself. If you don't need it for the money.
Chasing the dragon.
Yeah. But also, you guys out there that are playing gigs for fucking free and a sandwich, stop fucking doing it. You're fucking up for the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Please don't do that. Please don't. I don't care. I don't care. Like there, it's one thing when you're like 17, 18 years old and you've never played a gig before and you want to get out there and try and do something. Well, talk to some people who are actually out there performing regularly. Talk to them and they will help you get into the right line of work to where you can actually like put a value to what you're doing and get experience at the same time. Because if you don't do that and you just go out there, I'm just going to go and play. This guy's going to give me a free dinner and a beer. Wow, this is a great deal. I'm going to come here more often.
Ooh.
Well, you know what? That venue owner, he now knows that he can get talent for nothing. And like he's going to just like, okay, well, I'm just going to start tapping into this whole market of these young kids.
Well, think about it. And what's the quality there? You know,
there is no
the
quality.
quality's like, normally the guys that are playing those gigs are shit. I mean, you got to pay your fucking dues, dude. You know, that's the big thing. Is pay your fucking dues. You know, there was like, you know, when I was growing up, you remember? Did you skate? You weren't a skater.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember you'd show up with your skateboard. It was like 6th, 7th grade. Everybody made you feel like shit because you
weren't allowed to hit the ramps like the first time you went there. They wouldn't let you get into like the circuit because they don't know who the fuck you are.
Well, you were, and they'd call you a poser, and poser was a fucking bad thing to be called. Those are fighting words. Somebody called you a poser. It was a fighting word. It's like, fuck you, you're a poser, and you know, you had to pay your fucking dues. You had to show back up. You had to work on your shit. You had to prove that you could ollie, and then it was like, oh, I could kick flip, and then it was pressure flips and all the other shit that you had to learn.
You couldn't be afraid to push your way into like the circuit of like people going for like the rail or for like the quarter ramp, or like you had to actually like it's like I'm going like just gun for it.
Right,
you know?
right. So it was. You know, it's the same thing with musicians. It's that thing that I've told you before. Mm-hmm. I said it's not enough about being in the scene, it's about being seen in the scene.
Yes.
And that's, I have to give up to Roman, Matt Roman. He said that to me probably about 15 years ago when we were playing in Manhattan. I remember we were playing at the Bitter End. And he said to me, it was like the shitty gig at like 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. Mm-hmm. And we had like a 45-minute set. And we played somewhere else. We played Auto Shrunken Head before, so we played Autos, then we went over there. And he said to me, I was like, Matt, what the fuck are we doing here? And he's like, you know what? He's like, it's not enough just to be here. He's like, you gotta be seen here for it to actually fucking count. And he was right. I know I'm using a lot of like expletives, but they're very colorful statements. And I love saying the word fuck, and I'm gonna say it more often because
who cares?
Yeah,
Who
it's
cares?
morning beers.
Yeah,
if you're watching this, you're watching alcohol content.
Yeah.
And we're gonna say the word fuck.
Yeah.
So being seen in the scene, stop taking gigs for nothing, because we can't afford for you to be taking gigs for nothing. You need to pay your dues. If you're coming up, you're 17 years old, you're 17 between 21, and you want to play for free. And I work at Apple with a guy like this. I love this dude. He's a great dude, but he basically plays for free, and he gives the money to the places he plays, which is like utterly insane. I'm like, dude, I was like, you got to stop doing that. He's a good player. He's got a great band. They're a good thing, and you're almost better off setting up your own shows. If you're going to do that, get a fire hall, set it up at your house, do your own thing. Don't impede on people who need to make a living. It's like if there's a cab company and I show up with a free cab, I'm going to put them out of business. I could be the worst fucking cab driver in the world. I could be like, pissing in the car, but you're going to get it for free. You're probably going to take the free cab, right? So there needs to be equality, and we need to all kind of step back and say, you know what? We need to slow down. We need to let, if I'm going to play free gigs, I'm going to take control of this. Or there's coffee shops. Dude,
Yeah.
Art galleries, places that if you want to do for free, those are the places to go to. Because those are the places that you are going to be able to kind of try your craft out. And you can try off-the-wall shit. I know you play a lot of off-the-wall shit still at some coffee shops.
Absolutely.
And that's where the land of solo bass.
Yeah, but as much as anybody ever wants to shit on solo bass, like I truly, I know you.
I want to shit on solo bass. I hate solo bass.
I enjoy performing it. I enjoy.
Does anybody enjoy listening to it?
There are some people that enjoy listening to it.
Those are sadists or masochists. Those are people who enjoy. And now I don't. To go that route, so let's take a left turn here. Because I need another beer. So
is this gonna turn into the shitting on Shawn hour now?
No, I'm not shitting on you. I mean, there are a number of people. Hold on, let's get up close and personal.
Yeah. Morning beers.
Woo! So let's talk about solo bass. So I think there is definitely a place for solo bass. I just don't think it's 3 hours worth of solo bass.
No, absolutely not. See, for my opinion with it, there's a certain, it's a mood and it's an atmosphere that kind of goes with it. It's not something that's meant to really, in my personal opinion, again, personal opinion right here. Morning beers, personal opinion. And also, I can say this because I do perform solo bass. That it's an atmosphere that's not intended to be the sole focus of whatever's going on. It's perfect for an art gallery because it is atmospheric music that will feed to the art, and it'll kind of just get people into a mood of creativity, maybe. But more than anything, it's background. It's musical wallpaper.
No, hold on. So let me take that back a little bit.
Okay.
Because there are amazing solo bass players.
No,
Michael Manring.
Oh, of course.
I mean, but he's the guy that we think of all the time. We think of him and Victor Wooten. Those guys are on a level that's so above everybody else. And that's okay. I mean, those guys are great. They do an incredible thing as solos. Dominic DiPiazza's solo pieces on his albums, incredible. Like that what is that, Little Rose or that Yellow Rose, or there's a song that's just incredible. And he does a solo piece on that McLaughlin album too that is unbelievable.
Yeah, arranged solo pieces can be really beautiful.
But it's almost like a take classical guitar, like Yannick's album. I didn't really that American Elm. I didn't really care for that.
I didn't like it much either. I thought there was some really nice moments in it, but it didn't do a lot for me. I really liked Yannick's playing in obviously 55 Bar. I think that's.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think that's just about everybody's Yannick album, favorite Yannick
Well, 55
album.
Bar, and also the album before that was incredible.
Was it the movie
Mysteries to Me.
Mysteries to Me? Yeah, Mysteries to Me was really great. I like Theater to the Sea, and like I also liked the was it Only Happens Once, the improv album.
Well, he did that one. He did a cover of Little Dragon. Which was incredible, and that one album was fucking awesome. That Little Dragon album, like he did that twice. That was incredible. I like his version a lot on that. But their arrangements, it was a full band. You know, you could have one of these too, by the way.
I know. Well, do you want to have this one?
What is this? This is this fruity?
No, not really.
Thank God.
It's an IPA. Yeah.
So let's talk about fruity beers for a sidetrack here. Fucking hate them. Do you like them?
Because I'm not much of an IPA guy, I prefer the citrusy IPAs.
I fucking hate citrusy. I hate like anything with fruit.
I feel like that's the hipster in you that really likes like if I can chew it, if I can taste the flowers, I really like it.
Well, I don't like taste of flowers.
I think that's
Just
all.
hops.
That's all you.
I just want hops.
Hops
More
or
hops.
flowers.
Hops. Well, you know, they are they flowers?
Yeah, they're flowers.
Well, I learned something. Fucking morning beers.
I'm eating flowers here.
But you know, I think. Yeah, well, cool. You have yourself a rebel.
Thanks.
Rouser.
You can have yourself.
I like that. It's coming together, and let me give you this special opener from Cigar Fest 2016.
Pass the pun.
We gotta add cigars to morning beers.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I got a lot.
That'd be good for Music Fest.
Oh, we should do that.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So the Funhouse is a Lehigh Valley staple. Let's give them some props.
Oh yeah, it's a great spot.
Because for original music, it's a fucking dive, guys. It is a fucking dive.
Yes.
But they know that.
But they live off of that because like the place that it's decorated to be a dive. They don't fix things there because it's a dive.
No, they never fix things there.
Yeah, and like when you basically step down into the bathroom and like because the floor sinks and then like in order to get out of the bathroom the door opens in and like you almost have to like climb over the toilet to get out.
Well, that's like the pool table. There's the short pool stick so that you can open the bathroom door to hit the pool table.
Yep.
The pool table is literally up against the bathroom door, and you have to hold the bathroom door open with your leg so that you can hit the ball. Which I've seen people actually pass out in that bathroom up against the door.
Oh boy.
Which means that the door opens the wrong way, which probably doesn't pass a certain standard.
Let's not talk about any ADA laws.
Plus, there's a step down to get to that bathroom. I don't think it's wheelchair accessible.
But the deck is beautiful. The back door, the patio out back.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
But giving the Funhouse the props though is that the Funhouse is Tina, and she has been a supporter of original music.
30 years or something like that?
Longer than that. I think my dad played the Funhouse. So original music.
And if you want to like more props to them for like if you get booked for a Friday or Saturday night there, you will get so well taken care of like for like compensation there, better than any bar or venue in the Lehigh Valley. That is the place to play on a Friday or Saturday night if you can.
Which is true. Now I did the jazz night at the Funhouse in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was there every Wednesday for I think 2 years straight, so I don't want to ever play there again. Now I have to give them props even though like it paid shit. Jazz night never paid anything. We had a lot of great players who came out and sat in with us, but it paid shit. It was like $30 a man, but again, I was like 24 years old, so it didn't really matter, so I didn't really care. But it was an opportunity to play that. And back then, they still didn't it was still smoking. Is it still smoking in there?
Oh yeah.
Oh god, it's like
oh my god,
it was a strain killer.
They just introduced some food to the bar, which was hot dogs and popcorn.
Well, they always had hot dogs and popcorn.
Really? I've never seen the signs for it. And then they just started making these little standing pamphlets at the bar. It was like, holy shit! You can get a hot dog and like a popcorn for $4.
Well, they always have. There used to be a guy named Brandon that used to work there when I used to play there, and he was Captain Morgan. He would go out and do the Captain Morgan thing. And they used to have the hot dog spinning thing. It's like that episode of Seinfeld It's a perfectly sane food. It's perfectly sane. Remember that episode?
Yeah.
And there'd be this like crusty dog that'd be spinning, and your shirt's been there at least 10 years. And I think somebody ate it once just on a dare. It was like really fucking gross. it was like that. I know in Alaska there's that toe, and somebody has a piece of a toe in like the whiskey, and people drink it with that piece of toe in there. It was kind of like that element. That piece of the hot dog should be in there.
What did we learn?
I don't think we learned anything.
No.
I think we just basically griped about the shit that we always talk about, just that we put it on video.
Now it's out for the whole world to see.
Well, you know, if anybody takes anything away from this video, I think it's mostly about, you know, understanding the craft. You know, we didn't play a fucking thing of bass today, other than me pretending to, like, you know, do, you know, the masturbatory
You're jerking off your neck?
Yeah. Which, you know, is a joke all in itself, but the reality is that, you know, it's a craft. Being a musician is a craft. You need to be able to touch bass. I feel like it's the G.I. Joe thing. Remember that?
G.I. Joe. Yeah.
They always have that moral.
This is the moral at the end. Yeah.
The moral of the story. You remember? And that's one to grow on, folks. You remember that? It was like, we just put this hour of shit out for you, but
this is what you could take away from this.
It was always like it was always like that little bit at the end. It's like it was like, hey, if you get a scab, make sure that you rub some dirt in it. It was always some kind of nonsense like that. It's like, and that's one to grow on.
Put a blanket at the bottom of the door. Make sure you climb out the window during a fire.
And I think that was a Nancy Reagan thing. I think it was like they said that cartoons were rotting kids' brains, which is funny because if only they knew about like phones, like technology today.
Oh, now yeah, it's terrible. But like I was watching the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe just recently with
the movie or the cartoon?
The cartoon.
Oh, nice.
The cartoon
nice.
with Tegan. It was on Netflix, and we're watching it. And at the end, they do the moral just like on G.I. Joe.
They had to.
Yeah.
They had to. I think that should be part of morning beers.
Morning beers. We should do a moral. It's like if you ever catch on fire, make sure you stop, drop, and roll.
No, I think morning beers. There should be some kind of really bizarre thing like, if you ever find yourself with a salt shaker, make sure that you pour it directly towards your eyes, because you always want to put salt in your eyes. Or like, if you find yourself with a really deep gash on your arm, you want to make sure that you grab a handful of dirt and rub it in there real good. Because dirt is God's own resource.
The more insects, the better.
Hey, dude.
Earwigs make for great stitches.
It's like, hey, dude, that's smelling a little rancid. That means it's healing.
Just look to Gladiator. Didn't they do that in Gladiator where the guy had a big gash in his arm or something? They just filled it with maggots?
Yeah, well, the maggots...
The bugs will clean.